Let's talk more about the daily analysis of the federal election race. CTV News political commentator Scott Reid joining us once again this morning to get into this. Scott, good morning to you. Nice to see you this morning. 24 hours ago, Mark Carney was defending his candidate Paul Chiang in sort of North Toronto. Now he's out. He steps aside, but it looks like he used a whole lot of political capital here, and he's going to get a lot of questions on it today. Scott, what's your assessment of this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit of a head shaker, to be honest. Clearly, the campaign had spent Sunday, not just yesterday, but Sunday, deciding what it would do and what it would say yesterday. And they decided they were going to stick with the candidate, notwithstanding his comments. And so Mr. Carney, sort of drew a line in the sand yesterday, took a lot of heat for that decision. And then with word that the RCMP have launched an investigation, they obviously moved rapidly overnight. So you're right. I don't know if it's a lot of political capital that was expended, but it was a puzzling move. Why you wouldn't move more quickly? Why you wouldn't say, let's just cut our losses? Sometimes leaders like to say to themselves, you know what, the strong thing to do is to take the heat. And by God, I'm not going to be pushed around by the media and others and told what to do. I'm standing by this candidate. But it didn't make any sense, particularly since the deadline for candidates has not yet passed, meaning that you can actually swap in a new candidate. Mm-hmm. So he's going to get asked about this. It's going to step on his day.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And yet a plus for his day, I guess, the timing of this is that the federal consumer carbon tax has been scrapped, and a lot of drivers waking up with a bit of relief at the pumps this morning. They can save quite a few bucks each week if you're filling up 2 or 3 times.
People can be forgiven for imagining it must be some kind of April Fool's joke, sprung on us by the major oil companies. But you are going to see a massive drop at the pumps. And in fact, for the Liberals, and who knows if you really get credit for this, it's not like people use their vote to reward you. But, you're going to see a double whammy this month because we see the price of gas drop by 15-20 cents a liter this morning and for the balance of the month because the carbon tax will be removed. And in addition, there's still one more carbon tax payout to come, so people will get a check later in the campaign. This will, of course, give rise to howls of, my God, they're buying votes and they're just feeding you garbage. Don't be so stupid. But it'll probably be beneficial.
It's interesting, because on the one hand, a year ago, I'm old enough to remember then when, Justin Trudeau got hammered when the carbon tax went up again. Today, of course, it's coming off in a campaign. But is it, you said maybe no one's going to get credit per se, but Pierre Poilievre was the one talking about this tax for 2 years, talking it down. It's ultimately been scrapped now. Is there anyone who might get credit here, or do you think it's just going to be a wash?
It's about removing an obstacle, not necessarily giving you a bounce. So, Pierre Poilievre, frankly, became a victim of his own success. He had so brutally battered the carbon tax. He had so successfully dismantled the political case for it. It had become such an anchor, so unpopular all across the country that it was a certainty that as the Liberals replaced Justin Trudeau, every candidate would pledge to kill it. And so it was Mark Carney's literally his first act as prime minister to reduce that consumer carbon tax to 0 and to get it off the backs of people, which is why today you will not see it at the pump. So it isn't so much like in a perfect world, the Conservatives might say, well, listen, give us credit for having done such a good job of depopularizing this idea. But that ain't the way politics work. Now it just means that's not a conflict. So there we have it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely took away a major talking point for the Conservatives. And of course, we'll see what tomorrow brings with Liberation Day in the U.S. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Scott, good to have you. Have a nice day.
Good to have you both. By the way, I like your April Easter outfit there with the blue and the pink. Looking good, Scott, buddy.
Yeah, I tried.
All you need is a little basket and a ribbon, and you would be full on bunny territory.
Okay, Scott, you've got to do radio. Get out of here. Okay, Scott Reid, everybody. Thank you, Scott.